Hey guys, in this video we're talking about a potential Christmas snowstorm that's going to track up the United States. Now, what we're looking at here, what we're going to talk about here is this piece of energy right here that's going to spiral into the United States and potentially produce a Christmas snowstorm. I'm going to talk about amounts, timing, locations, and much more. But before we begin, click the subscribe button below if you like daily forecast updates, much more in depth than you would see on TV. We unveil beautiful meteorology data here on this channel, and we are part of a giant community of weather enthusiasts that is starting to grow very rapidly. So join the tribe, and here we go. So what we're looking at right now is the 24th of December at about 1 a.m. There's a giant piece of energy kind of hanging off the coast due to lower than average height anomalies. There's a trough out here, and you can see this thing is closed off, so it's kind of spinning around. This is the upper level of vorticity. We'll look at this day by day with the precipitation here in a second, but this is very important to look at. There's positive vorticity advection. Essentially means there's rotation up in the upper atmosphere that's going to cause lift for a powerful storm system, at least off the coast here in the Pacific. Now, the question is how far and how fast can this advance into the United States, and how powerful will it be? As we watch here, as we go towards the day on the 24th, this is around 1 p.m. here, you can see it kind of move on shore. There's a little piece of energy now moving out, and there's positive vorticity advection. You're going to be already seeing precipitation with that type of look in New Mexico, Arizona, and then New Mexico, potentially Colorado and Texas as well. You can see those wrinkles there in the upper level heights that indicates potential little waves, short waves, moving in and lift for a decent little storm that could blow up. So as we head towards the 25th, the morning, and we're talking very early in the morning, this piece of energy ejects out into the panhandle of Texas, New Mexico. Your best bet for precipitation is going to be out in this region right here. You can see the general trough is still hanging around, though, the long wave trough. This is a little wave. So there's little dips within the jet stream that kind of circulate around. There could be another one that comes down and delivers another shot into the plains here near and after Christmas. So this is Christmas now, and you can see it is kind of weakening. It's still a little bit closed off. There's a little nudge in the jet stream. So I think as this gets onto the plains, this will weaken. It's been trending like that the entire past week, the week I've looked at it. And I've talked about this in previous videos. I think the best bet would be kind of in the Four Corners region here as you head towards Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah, maybe as far east as Oklahoma and Texas panhandles. But you can see this energy does kind of weaken. It loses its grip, and it kind of redevelops. You get another wave that comes out back here after Christmas, and we're going to have to watch that as well. You can see this moves into the Midwest. By the time it moves into the Midwest, it's just a little blob of precip. Not a whole lot of energy with that. But look at this thing spiraling down here. It's starting to close off. This is around the it's the night of Christmas, so the 26th at 1 a.m. essentially. And you can see another wave really gets kicking in. This is around the 26th now, or 27th around 1 a.m. Out in this desert southwest could deliver another blow for the southern plains, and this could eject out into the Midwest or the central plains in the Midwest around the 27th and 28th. And look at that really get going. It's a little more flat, so it's going to be not as powerful, but what you'll get is a big widespread kind of swath of precip with that type of look. Still pretty good. There's kind of another branch up here competing with it. Has a flat look, but again, that's getting pretty far out. But we do want to keep our eyes on the 26th to the 29th as well as a second wave, and the main wave does come out around then. So two different waves we want to keep our eyes on here over the next few days. So what we'll do is we'll look at the precipitation here and see what happens. So with that type of look, we should suspect some decent precipitation for the southwestern United States. And what will happen is you'll see it weaken here in the central plains. Now, as we move towards the 24th, this is the around 7 p.m. and the 23rd. So we're kind of looking at the nighttime. Decent low pressure system out here, a little wave kind of spitting out. But out ahead of it, you're going to get some precipitation already in the southwestern United States, California, Nevada, all the way out through about New Mexico. It's going to be a little, mostly in the upper elevations and kind of spotty early on the day on the 24th. And that'll move into Nevada as well as Utah, maybe as far north as Wyoming and Colorado. I suspect the main area is going to be down here, though. This area is still a little bit under question, as the main energy will be to the south, towards that area. So you go into the day on the 24th. This is already at 7 p.m. You can see the main low moves through. Here's your cold front, and obviously lots of precipitation along this temperature gradient and points to the north. So mostly rain, but there is some snow in the upper elevations. I think as this moves to the north, you get a little bit more snow. Now, with these little waves that kind of move in, especially early on, sometimes they lack a little bit of cold air, especially these little tiny mini waves that move on. It's not going to have a whole lot of draw of cold air. So most of the snow will be confined to the upper elevations. You can see this 540 line, which is rather finicky. It's not as accurate in the mountains because we got elevation and many other factors as it maybe would be out here. But nonetheless, you're going to get some snow south of that, but again, in the upper elevations, and some spotty snow out here in the northwestern United States. But it does ramp up on the 25th on Christmas. So probably a white, obviously it's going to be a white Christmas for this region because they already have snow, but we're going to add some fresh snowpack into this region on Christmas. But I think this wave's going to die on Christmas Day. As you can see, around 7 p.m., 0Z to 26, so 7 p.m. on Christmas, you can see the low comes out of the Rockies. Now, a lot of the time, these things will strengthen as they get out to the east of the Rockies, but because that upper level energy is dying out, you're just not going to see, this thing's going to lose grip. So even if this precipitation looks impressive, it probably short-lived, it's probably spotty, you're going to have some issues, and it's not going to be a whole lot. But you can see still snow on the back side here. You're going to get more cold air that draws down, so it'll start to become a little more widespread on Christmas. But there has been a pretty consistent wave that moves out into the Midwestern region along a kind of a warm front stationary ordeal, and really just going to be mostly rain and mixed precipitation in this region. Not a whole lot of cold air being pulled out with this thing. This low pressure system is weakening, so it's not going to draw as much down. And the high pressure system's kind of nebulous and farther to the north. So mostly going to be a rain and mixed event if it does materialize in the plains. But could see some wet flakes mixed in as well for a little Christmas treat. As we head towards the 26th, this is at around 6 a.m. or so kind of the morning after Christmas. You can see this low is really kind of weak for the most part. And 107, still some spotty precipitation along it, a little bit behind it. But there's that second low starting to form in the southwestern United States. And then you got a high out west. So going to be very warm and dry for the northeastern and east half of the United States. Cold out here in the northwestern United States. And in between is where our main activity is going to occur. So I'd suspect between the 24th and the 28th, your best activity is going to kind of orient along this line where those short waves were kind of tracking up. Again, the precipitation is going to change quite a bit. We want to look at the waves more in detail, but we're looking at the precipitation for fun here, and watch what happens. Again, when that wave dies out, you can see the low does and the precipitation does for the most part as well. Values are very light, tenth of an inch an hour at best. But we got another wave moving on here, and this is something we're going to have to watch as we head towards the 27th and 28th especially. And you can see this run of the GFS, again, this is going to change. So, I'm not saying this is what it's going to look like because we want to look at the waves in the upper levels a little bit more here. But you can see a nice warm front, really nice warm front there, very nice cold front. You can see this temperature contrast right here. You go from 540 all the way to 558, 564. Very good baroclinic zone, very nice sharp warm front as well up here in those kinks and those isobars. You can see how those little black isobars, they kind of kink over like that, kind of have that angle. That's where your warm front's going to typically lie. It's going to be near that and kind of near your temperature gradient on the south side. And then your cold front as well on the south side. So you can kind of see that materialize. Very, very impressive low pressure system. Your best precip shield is going to be kind of along into the north and west of that warm front, and your best snow bet kind of behind it. Now, the second wave, when this main long wave moves out, it's going to have more cold air to work with, a better draw of cold air, and you can obviously see that on the models. Now, you have a snow potential threat for the central plains, and as that moves into the north part of the U.S. and the Midwest, look at that, 976 low pressure system, very powerful low pressure system, extremely impressive cold front, and warm front as well here, and plenty of moisture drawing out and around it. And look at those isobars, extremely windy all the way from northwest Nebraska all the way out into Michigan, and very, very windy. So that'd be blizzard type conditions, very cold behind it. There's your 540 line, much farther south. So this thing really gets ramped up as it moves in the Midwestern part of the United States. However, this is getting far out there, and this is going to change. But the threat is there for at least 2 storm systems around Christmas within that zone that I was talking about. This is obviously going to change. This is not my forecast. If you look at the previous run of the GFS, this thing is much weaker. And I bet on the Euro, this thing will look a little bit weaker too. The Euro's actually been kind of weaker and warmer with things, it seems like, out here at least. So again, we're going to have to watch it though, because when you get a main long wave trough that ejects, and let's look at the height anomalies. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in the upper levels, and we'll kind of go and look at a continental view. And what we're going to do is we're going to zoom out just a bit, kind of show you the upper dynamics here. So, you go towards the 24th, and that kind of Christmas storm, you can see that main storm. This is kind of measuring the 500 millibar height anomalies. Usually in the blues, you're going to get obviously lower height anomalies, and it's usually cold kind of in the center and to the northwest of that blue and the lower height anomalies. And then obviously near and ahead of the blue is where your warmest air is going to be. Okay, and then your ridging is going to be out here in the dark, deep reds and kind of the rising heights. You can see that little wave right there, that little short wave, kind of circulate around this main long wave. That's going to eject out on Christmas, but usually with this type of look, you're not going to get a whole lot of cold air. Okay, as this thing moves out, you're going to get return flow that comes up again, and you're going to get south winds that quickly come back up and get ready for the second wave. So I wouldn't suspect you'd get a whole lot of snow out here in the plains. Obviously in the upper elevations, it's cold enough, you'll get snow, and it'll be a decent snowstorm for the southwestern United States. But the main wave, as this moves out, as this is the 27th now, and this is the 28th, if this ridging up here, you get these higher height anomalies, if this kind of doesn't squeeze in and kind of wrap behind it, if this can kind of come down and disconnect that and connect around the 28th, as you see here, there's going to be some serious cold air draw that will come out of Canada, and you'll have the perfect ingredients for a decent snowstorm. And obviously, look at that. Very impressive. Another really low height anomaly coming down here and really connecting here as we head towards the East Coast. And that looks pretty crazy. It kind of circulates back in. So sometimes when you get those long height anomaly looks like that, sometimes when they whip around really quickly, you'll get another surge of cold air, and you'll get like a double punch Arctic outbreak. But again, that's towards late December, and then you can see more ridging out here, and it'll probably send some more troughing out in the east as we head towards late December and early January. So it's a pattern we're going to have to watch. But like I said, our main focus here is on Christmas. The biggest question is that storm after Christmas. If we can get this trough to stay organized and get some pieces to kind of merge together here and get enough cold air draw as this main wave comes out, could be some cold enough air for finally some snow in these regions again. Been kind of dealing with warm air for really this area of the U.S., maybe a little bit farther south, for these snowstorms. Had a decent one that kind of moved through, but it was moderate. There's been a lot of other systems that have moved through, but have been rain, especially for the mid-Atlantic region and parts of the Midwest. We'll have to watch this, so it's going to be fun. Again, Christmas either way is going to be pretty active in the southwestern United States. We'll look at the snowfall for fun here in the southwestern United States. We'll do a national view, and really for the most part, you go all the way out here. Here is your main snow threat, and you can see, that's the second storm in Texas. So we'll go back and look at the first storm. Really, the upper elevations, so 6 to 12 inches in most areas. Some areas a little bit more, obviously. But a good coating of snow either way. Going to be good fresh powder. And then California, some more snow. And then as you get even farther out, that second storm moves in and actually affects parts of the southern plains all the way up to the Midwest. But that's getting pretty far out there, so we won't look at that too much detail. Precipitation-wise, you're going to get some precipitation in the Midwest on Christmas. So, but it's not going to be all that much. I think as that wave starts to die out, it's going to be kind of weak for the most part. But you do get as much as a half inch or so of rain, quarter inch. So still pretty good for December in this region. But you can see the main show is going to be down here in the southwestern United States. Kind of extends, it keeps its energy as it moves into Nebraska, but it really starts to lose itself as it gets into the Midwest. And I don't think you'll see this trend too much upward. I think it's kind of locked in when you get these first initial weak waves. So I think your best bet's going to be down here. But that second wave will be the one to watch after Christmas for areas farther north and towards the Midwest regions, and maybe even the far north, interior northeastern United States. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Again, click the subscribe button below if you're interested in daily forecast updates like this, much more in depth than you'd see on TV. Share this with a friend. Hit the thumbs up button, comment below, and have a great day, and we'll see you soon.